7 o'clock. So the recording is on. Let me just do a quick check. But I think I've got Mr. Wilkerson, Ms. Eastman, Mr. Friedman, and Mr. Ike. Is Mr. Moore, are you on? Ms. Bogalassi, are you on?
I am indeed.
You are, wonderful.
Yes.
So we have. Hello? Okay, so we do have 6. Okay, so good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Board of Education special meeting. Today is Wednesday, April 6th, 2022. And I'm going to call this meeting to order and ask you to please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
The Republic
Of the United States of America,
of America,
America, to the republic for which it
for which it
stands,
stands, one
one
nation,
nation, under
under
God,
God, indivisible,
with
liberty
liberty
and
and justice
justice
for
for
all.
for
all.
all.
And I'm going to ask everybody if you could please mute to cut off the feedback. And Mr. Wilkerson, would you read our opening statement?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening. As Secretary of the Board of Education, of the Bloomfield Board of Education, I wish to extend a warm welcome to everyone present and to our television viewers. The board, superintendent, and I are pleased that you've joined us as we celebrate achievement, review information, and make policy decisions related to effective operation of the Bloomfield Public Schools. This is a regular meeting, and all items that will be discussed or voted on this evening have been posted as required by state law. As the Bloomfield Board of Education, we are here to set goals, listen to reports of the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, and personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. We're not here to make management decisions or to solve the problems of individuals. Management is the responsibility of the superintendent. Meetings of the board are open to the public. It is the time when the board conducts its business of governing the school system in a public arena. The regular meetings are not meetings with the public. Therefore, comments from the audience will be confined to the time designated for the public to address the board. Decorum and courtesy are important elements in effective public meetings. Please silence your cell phones or communication devices and refrain from talking while others are speaking. Since it is legally mandated that proceedings be accurately recorded, the board chair may have to ask for order periodically. Should noise begin to interfere with our recording capabilities, I'm pleased that you have taken the time this evening to join us. We are very proud of the school system and thank you for the interest in Bloomfield Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkerson. Now on to our consent agenda. Item A, approval of minutes from special meeting March 2nd, 2022. Mr. Friedman,
I move that the Bloomfield Board of Education approve the minutes from the March 2nd, 2022 special board meeting as presented.
Second,
it's been properly moved in second. Are there any questions about the minutes? Any edits, corrections? Hearing none, seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion is carried. Item B, the regular meeting, March 8th, 2022. Mr. Friedman,
I move that the Bloomfield Board of Education approve the minutes from the March 8th, 2022 regular board meeting as presented.
second,
properly moved in second. Any corrections, or edits? Hearing none, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Item 5, recognition. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. I would like to recognize Mr. Dan Maletti as our new Human Resources Director. Mr. Maletti has a proven track record as a forward-thinking and impactful leader. In his years as an administrator at Bloomfield High School, Mr. Maletti has demonstrated a strong understanding of personnel policies and procedures. He has participated in hiring and recruitment throughout his career. His calmness under pressure and constant drive for professional and organizational improvement makes him an outstanding leader as the Human Resource Director. I believe Dan is on. And Dan, at this time, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, sir, absolutely. Good evening, everyone. I'd just like to say I'm grateful for the opportunity to be named the Human Resources Director. My 15 years at Bloomfield High School will never be forgotten, but I'm absolutely blessed to be able to remain in Bloomfield to work with, the families, students, and staff in a different capacity, but my home will always be in Bloomfield. So I'm glad that I'm able to continue and I'm given this opportunity. So thank you all.
Well, thank you. And on behalf of the board, well, I'll speak for myself. I welcome you, Dan. I'm sure glad that we're able to hold on to you as opposed to you going off somewhere else. You're a proven leader, proven track record, been a credit to our district, and I'm glad that you're sticking with us and calling this your home. Board members, any comments?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, please proceed.
Oh.
Mr. Chairman.
Dan, once again, I echo the comments of Mr. Harris. We've worked with each other for many, many years at the high school, and I so look forward to working with you as you continue on with your new position as a Human Resource Director. Hopefully next week I'll stop by and start talking to you regarding various ideas I have regarding working with you and, of course, BATV. But once again, welcome and thank you for continuing your wonderful history with the Bloomfield Board of Education.
Thank you, sir.
Other board comments?
Congratulations, Mr. Maletti. Every time I went up to that high school, as I told you, when I was checking the phones for the elections, you were in the hallways, always in the hallways. I didn't even know you had an office back there. You were always in the hallways, managing the school, right in there. Even when I walked the track, you'd be up there on the track watching the kids practice and get ready for their sporting events. Congratulations, all the best. Robert W.I.
Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Eastman.
Thank you. Mr. Maletti, I will never call you Dan just because I can't do that. I know you as Mr. Maletti. You will forever be Mr. Maletti. So I thank you for all the work that you've done in the schools. You've been a great help to me always. Never pushed me aside, never made me feel like I was intruding or asking a stupid question. So I do appreciate that. And I have no doubt that you will do great in your new role. You have a great personality. You love people and people love you. So thank you so much for all that you do. And thank you for continuing to stay in Bloomfield.
Thank you.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, Mr. Moore. You're muted.
Okay. Congratulations, Mr. Maletti. I wish you the best in your new position. Good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Okay, anybody? Oh, Mr. Wilkerson.
Yes, Mr. Maletti, I just want to say congratulations on your new role. I wish you much success, and I just also want to thank you for all the time and dedication you spent in the schools. We know you made a difference, so thank you.
Thank you.
Mr.
Vogelassek,
Maletti,
aye. Ms.
Mr.
Vogelassek,
Maletti, I think I'm unmuted, yes. While I don't know you, what I'd like to say to you is the fact that you were able to stay with us for 15 years, work with our children and our family speaks volumes to me. So welcome to your new position. And I hope that you give that position as much dedication as you clearly gave to the high school and the families there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
thank you. Moving on, I want to take a few minutes and talk about our championship teams this winter. We were blessed to have two state titleists, one being the boys basketball team, which is coached by one of our own, Bloomfield graduate and security guard at the high school, Mr. Kevin Moses. Kevin and I go back a long way because he actually played basketball for me back in the 80s. He wasn't a great basketball player. He was a better football player, but he understands the fundamentals of the game. He understands working with children, and that has led him to being a superior football coach and basketball coach. Kevin is somebody that could pick up and do anything working with kids. It's for your info, this is Kevin's title. It comes the sixth state basketball title that we have earned here in Bloomfield. We won the title going back to 1938. I did a little bit of research today. Again in 1946, 1961. That was a team that I was on, by the way. 2002 under Gary Barcher, 2008 under Gary Barcher, and again 2 weeks ago under Kevin Moses. So, and the wonderful thing about this team is he's only losing 3 kids to graduation. So most of them are coming back. So my hope is that we're going to be back here again saying congratulations, Kevin, for a job well done next year as he collects another title. So Kevin, anything you'd like to add? You're muted. Okay.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank the Board of Education for allowing me to come on and you guys acknowledge our state championship team. Like Mr. Harris said, I played for him in the 80s, and him being my basketball coach and dear friend, and for Jesse White, my fraternity brother. It's an honor to have won this championship and coach in Bloomfield Public Schools. I want to thank Dr. Thompson, Don Harris, Dan Maletti, Jesse White, who wholeheartedly supported me through the process. And this being my 3rd season, but last year COVID season didn't really count, winning a state championship and bringing some of my coaching styles from Don Harris, who is like a father to me, has been there for the past 30 years in my life. And it just feels good to have won the state championship at Bloomfield High School, where I know that Don Harris won All-State twice, was part of the 61 championship team, my basketball coach, and also being a basketball coach as well, winning a state championship at Bloomfield High School. Thank you. And again, Dan Mulledy, congratulations on your new position.
Thank you, Kevin. Additionally, our girls track team, indoor track team under Coach Ann Burrows won the state title three weeks ago. And almost to nobody's surprise, that it said, oh, well, they did it again. And that's very true. But I have to tell you, it's very difficult to do it again. But Ann Burrows' teams have won 12 in a row, state titles, state indoor titles. Her co-captains this year were Janice Jones and Amira Etienne Modeste. Out of that team, she's had 7 All-Staters. And the scary thing, at least for all her opponents, is that 80% of her team are freshmen and sophomores. So they're all coming back, and they'll be, and I'm sure Ann is going to be, she won that title. The next closest team was 60 points away. Do you know how much of a victory that is? That's a downright spanking, downright spanking. So congratulations to Ann Burrows. Ann, I know you're not a, please don't call on me. Please don't call on me.
It's fine. I do want to say thank you on behalf of myself, my coaches, and the girls. They work hard to bring these championships home to Bloomfield. We are very appreciative of our new track. We thank you all for that. And we hope to bring you guys home another championship to Bloomfield in the spring. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ann. And in case you're wondering, what are we doing to celebrate these victories? The boys basketball team has already been sized for championship rings. They will probably be in about 3 weeks. And there's going to be a celebration to be held probably at the high school, where everyone will have the honor and the privilege of being in attendance. So I will wait for Ms. Schandelmeyer, our athletic director, to let me know when that's going to be. And we'll get the message out to everybody on the board for the town to come out and to celebrate boys basketball victory. Now, we're not forgetting about the girls, but the girls are old hands at this. And what they usually do is wait until the fall, and then they celebrate at the halftime of a football game. That's what I was told today. So I'm assuming you're aware of that, Ann. And so they will receive rings as well. And their celebration will take place at a later date, time to be announced. Any board member would like to comment?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go right ahead.
Kevin Moses, Ann Burrows. If I had a hat, which I don't have at the moment, my hat goes off to both of you and our teams. As you know, I'm class of 74, blue and orange all the way. And if you can see my smile, not only on me, but I believe on almost every resident of this town, when we win a championship, it goes beyond the height of joy. So congratulations to our teams. Congratulations to you. Also, a big shout out to Tammy Schandelmeyer. And I look forward to joining you on our celebratory event as it comes up in the next few weeks. So congratulations. Appreciate all your hard work. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Howard.
Mr. Wilkerson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I do want to say to the both of you, to Mr. Mills and also to Ann Burrows, congratulations. Your leadership style speaks for you. I think that you guys have done wonderful, wonderful work here. The students love you. And we also love you too. And we want you to know that you always have a home here in Bloomfield. Bloomfield loves you very much. Thank you so much for your leadership.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else?
Thank you both coaches for your leadership and hard work working with our student athletes. It's a lot to undertake. I understand that. And we are so grateful for your dedication and hard work. These students, they do look up to you. I did not go to Bloomfield, but I know the coaches by hearing about them from all the students. So you guys should really be proud of yourselves. And we are looking forward to many years of state championships. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. And to many students, I think there are some students on this call. Congratulations to you as well, especially to you all. Ms. Shondemeyer, anything you'd like to add?
Hi, yes. Everybody said it all. Obviously, I'm extremely proud of both of these teams and all of the teams at Bloomfield High School as athletic director. It is always a joy to watch our team see how hard they work every day in practice, and to have it come to fruition and end in championships is the best of all things, right? The greatest reward for all the hard work. So we continue to be proud of the kids and proud of the coaches and appreciate the recognition tonight. I will say that we have sized the rings for the basketball team, and unfortunately, I was told that it takes more like 10 weeks given the back order of the supply chain that has happened because of COVID. So the normal turnaround of rings is not going to happen. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that it's not a 3-week turnaround. It's more like a 10-week turnaround, and I'm hopeful that we can do something for the basketball team before graduation or before the last day of the school year.
We will.
Which closer to June 15th something, and we can have a ring ceremony of some sort and invite everybody to come. And then again, like you said, track will have theirs ordered in the fall, in the spring, and then they'll be here in time for the fall. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Tam.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay. Presentations. Time for our student representative report and indoor track co-captain, Amira Etienne Modeste. You have
Good
the
evening,
floor.
everybody. My name is Amira Etienne Modeste, and I'm a junior at Bloomfield High School.
Please proceed.
So we can go on to the next slide. So once again, just a bit of recognition for the boys basketball team winning the Division IV state championship. They had to beat Bethel, Branford, Morgan State to get into the championship. This was their first title since 2008. During the Mohegan Sun Arena championship game, the Unified Sports team was able to play at halftime against Granby's Unified Sports team and got to watch front row. 7 girls and 5 boys in Class S have been presented as All-State for track, as well as Jay Sean has been presented as All-State and All-Conference in CCC. During quarter 2 for honor roll and high honor roll assembly, we've had an ice cream emergency ice cream truck. Each student who got honor roll or high honor roll was able to make their own sundae of their choice with their own ice cream and as many toppings as they would like. The guidance department hosted a field trip to the Mohegan Sun Arena for CareerCon, which is one of the largest one-day career school expos, connecting students with secondary career choices other than college, as well as employers such as automotive industries, hospital industries, healthcare industries, professional beauty, and manufacturing. As well as the Bloomfield Class X Council had their first discussion with sportsmanship. The conference included dynamics and keynotes for speakers, and BHS was honored by winning the Michaels Cup again. And college decision time is coming around the corner. A lot of BHS seniors have been waiting for the decisions. Decision date is May 1st of 2022. So I hope you guys are ready to hear what our seniors will be going. And as well, our trumpet player, Jake Battle, has earned another spot in the music assembly. Only 75 students are allowed in the assembly out of 49 schools in the district. And unfortunately, due to rescheduling due to COVID in January, the assembly will be happening shortly. One of our juniors, Lisa Ray McCaw, has won the Everfest Black History Month Challenge, as well as our senior, Condoleezza Coleman, has been selected as Connecticut's Distinguished Young Woman for 2022. Lisa Ray was one of the 11 winners across the country, and she won $2,500 and a MacBook. And Miss Condoleezza Coleman will be representing Connecticut in the national competition in Alabama in June. As well as many things have been happening down at AgriScience. The horticulture students have been growing their lilies as well as dish gardens for sale up in the school. UConn Comparative Animals has had many little visitors, as well as some lambs, some puppies. Chickens have been coming back in as well. So we've been doing a lot of other things too. And then the chapter team has been hosting Voc Ag education seminars at the Metacomet Middle School or elementary school, sorry. And then parent-teacher conferences will start up March 2nd through the 3rd. SATs for juniors were on the 16th. Winter sport break it was March 30th. And then quarter 4 will begin April 7th. Bloomfield tennis will be against Northwest Catholic on April 8th. Bloomfield track invite starts on April 9th. And then spring break is the April 11th through the 15th. Thank you, everyone. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you. Any comments, questions for our presenter? Okay. Item 7 on our agenda is public PTO comment. This is the opportunity, if you would like to speak. Any person that comes into the mic, you have 2 minutes. You just need to identify yourself and give us your street address. Any public comment? Any public comment? Okay. Superintendent's report, Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. Let me begin with the Early Start program. The Early Start program will run from July 11th until July 29th this summer. Students entering grades 1 through 8 will be encouraged to attend. We open registration on Monday, March 26th. Our program focus will be on instruction in reading, math, and social emotional learning. We are collaborating with several community partners to provide enrichment programs for our students. Tonight, Anne-Marie Cullinan, curriculum specialist, will share more information about the Early Start program. Family engagement. The district has developed several events for families. On Wednesday, March 30th, families had the opportunity to participate in a virtual forum about substance abuse. The program, entitled Raising Awareness, was hosted by Dr. Gary Rule. an internal medicine specialist. Dr. Rowe discussed current trends surrounding substance abuse, access to resources, and tips on how to recognize substance abuse. On Wednesday, May 18th, the district will host a family literacy night. Participants will hear the true story of the granddaughter of Juneteenth, Opal Lee, and what it means to be free. Families will be able to ask questions, engage in discussions on how to promote listening comprehension and vocabulary skills. It is also a culturally responsive workshop which supports diversity, equity, and inclusion. Kindergarten registration. Kindergarten registration opened on Friday, April 1 for the 2022-2023 school year. Families can register their children by submitting the pre-registration form to our central office department, registration department. Other updates, Bloomfield School Voices of Inspiration Choir, led by Mrs. Avery Stalters, represented the district this past Friday at the Connecticut Music Educators Association in-service conference. The director of UConn Choirs has also invited our students to perform at UConn. He is also very interested in starting a partnership with Bloomfield Public Schools Music Department. And this aligns with our Portrait of a Graduate work to provide pathways to our students interested in pursuing a career in music, in the music field. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. Any questions? Yes, I'm sorry, Ms. Eastman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just wondering, Dr. Thompson, do we have the number of students who have signed up for kindergarten yet, or at least I know that it's still open, but I'm wondering if we have a sense of how many students there are, and also are they new families, or are they, families that are already in Bloomfield?
Mrs. Cohendan is going to give a full-blown report. She may have some of that information that you're asking right now, but we just started the registration process, so it's early on, and I think we're probably going to give you a more realistic picture probably at our next board meeting.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Bogalassi, you're muted.
Yes, Dr. Thompson, going back to actually item 5, recognition, where we
Yes.
learned that Mr. Maletti will be taking over the Human Resource Director position. If my memory serves me right, I think Mr. Robinson also held the position of Director of Technology. Who is now in charge of technology? Is that a vacant position? Is that an area where we have no coverage? Do we have an acting person there?
Yeah, we have, right now the position is posted, and we're going to be interviewing for that. And Bill can let you know more about the person who's in that position right now. We do have someone in the interim to cover the leadership of that department. So Bill, you want to talk about how that department is being covered right now?
Sure, thank you. The interim director is Alan Miller, who's been with the district working with under Mr. Robinson for at least the last 10 years. He's a veteran of the district, and he's in that interim position. And as Dr. Thompson mentioned, that position has been posted, and the closing of the posting is in several weeks, and we'll interview going forward for that position, but it is covered at this particular point with an interim person.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If I could, Mr. Guzman, Alan Miller has been there 20 years because he was working in technology when I was a principal at Bloomfield High in 2000. So he's been there a long time. Mr. Wilkerson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For Dr. Thompson, I'm wondering, are we also opening pre-K registration as well?
It's being opened at Weckham's, but we're also in the process of creating a pre-K class at Lowell. We're pursuing grant funding for it, so it'll be cost neutral for the district. But once we get the green light to go ahead, that we've been awarded the grant funding that we are currently applying for, I'll provide you with more information. I can't obviously do registration without officially having that position ready.
Thank you.
Any other board questions? Okay, thank you, Dr. T. Financial report. Mr. Guzman.
Thank you, Mr. Harris, and good evening to all. This report is as of April 4th, 2022. At this time, approximately $517,800 or 1.15% of the budget has yet to be expended or encumbered. You will note on the one-page summary report, tuition account, major account 08 remains in a deficit position and in the amount of approximately $900,000. The deficit in this account increased from last month's report because there were 2 additional students placed out of district for special education services at a cost of approximately $75,000. On page 1 of the detailed report, account 1230 salaries para is over budget because of additional special education paras that we had to hire because of one-to-one special education needs of students. On page 2, account 1280 salaries support staff is over expended as well because of non-certified substitutes that we've had to hire for both regular education and special education during the fiscal year. Also on page 2, account 1290 support overtime is over budget because of custodial and maintenance overtime due to staffing shortages for medical and workers' comp issues, as well as inclement weather that we've had over the last winter months. As we have reported over the past several months, on page 4 of the detailed report, you will note the 3 tuition sub-accounts. If Krista, if you're running the thing, you might please go to page 4 of the detailed report. Thank you. You'll see 3/4 of the page down. You'll see the 3 sub-accounts for tuition, tuition public, tuition private, tuition magnet, and then the total for tuition 08. They continue to be over budget because of the increase in the number of students moving into the district over the school year. The largest change in this account has been the recent addition, as I mentioned before, of 2 students requiring out-of-district placements amounting to approximately $75,000. The placement of those children occurred over the last month. We continue and will continue to monitor all expenditures as we move towards the end of the fiscal year. Mr. Harris, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Questions? Board questions? Okay. Item 9, old business. Second reading of policy district goals 0200. Mr. Guzman?
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Just to recap, this policy has been before the policies committee of the board. Was presented on back in October 26th of 2021. At that particular point, there was a change being requested by a board member, Mrs. Bogalasagай. And we've incorporated that change into the policy in front of you, item 6. The policy then went to the Board of Education for an initial reading on February 15th, 2022. On March 29th, it went back to the Policy Committee for a second review. And it is before the Board of Education for adoption. The result of this policy change is a result of Public Act 1958, 19-58, an act promoting careers in manufacturing and public school students. The act requires boards of education to develop career placement goals for students choosing not to pursue an advanced degree or include those goals in their statements of educational goals. This policy was mandated by this act. So we have incorporated the language in item 9 as recommended by the Connecticut Association of Boards of Education as language that would satisfy Public Act 19-58. Recommend approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Friedman,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that the Board of Education approve the adoption of policy 0200, district goals.
Second,
properly moved and second. Any comments or questions? Any comments or questions? Hearing none, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 10, new business, early start program, summer program 2022. Ms. Cullinan?
Good evening, Dr. Thompson, Mr. Harris, and board members. Tonight, I will be giving you an update on our early start program that we have held for many years during the summer. And we started, as Doctor said, we started opening for students to register for it. Last week, we have 41 students registered so far, and obviously we know that will grow. On the next page, the next slide contains kind of an overview of what our purpose is. Obviously is to show evidence that we will support our students during the summertime. The process or the schedules, the curriculum, and the highlights that I'll be going through tonight. And finally, the payoff is that our Board of Ed and community will be informed regarding our summer early start instruction enrichment program, which we have sent out through the schools and through the daily messages that go out from the superintendent. On the next slide, we have why we are opening up again a summer program. There's lots of evidence around the benefit of it. These particular articles came from the RAND company and RAND Corporation, and they looked at summer learning loss and also the summer loss and learning loss due to the recent 18 months of COVID. And they came up with some data around math and language arts and the number of months that give us a cumulative loss in the reading and math areas. So obviously knowing that, a lot has been done during the school year, but we are also of the belief that a summer program will help our students to not only curb learning loss, but to boost student learning. On the next slide, this is a description of early start. We wanted to present a promising opportunity for our students. We will reinforce core learning. We'll teach culturally relevant curriculum. We'll offer social and emotional support, have small classes, and provide enrichment opportunities. This program right now is running from grade 1 through 8. Incoming first graders, incoming up to incoming 8th graders. On the next page is the Whole Child Initiative. We think very highly of this initiative. It's kind of the basis of a lot of our Portrait of a Graduate work, and it carries over into all of our other programs, processes, strategies, that it's an emphasis on educating the whole child. And we want to support children's lives based on their health, their safety, their engagement, support from adults, and the intellectual stimulation. On the next slide, and this will carry over into the summer based on how we've put together our curriculum, our instruction and assessment, which, as we all know, is priority 2 in our plan. So we'll target students' needs in mastering the Connecticut core standards. We'll have instructional hours in reading and writing and instructional hours in math. Most importantly, the strategies that we use will be performance tasks, text evidence, pre-teaching some of the math chapters, close reading strategies, social emotional strategies, project-based learning that we've been doing for the last several years, that the students really enjoy working in small groups, coming up with a problem that they solve, the critical thinking, being adaptable, working in a small group, and communicating with one another, which really are our POG competencies. So we've really embedded the competencies in how we teach and the learning strategies that our students will have. If you want to go back for one slide, I just want to point out that that's a classroom at Case, and every single student went up in one of their assessments. So the teacher took a picture of all of them and sent it on. So we thought we would add it in here. The next slide talks about an early start schedule. This is just an example because of busing routes and breakfasts and lunches. The schools, and we are holding it in Laurel. And Laurel and Metacomet will be at the Laurel site. And then we have Case and Cams at the Carmen Air Race building. We also have extended school year in Wintonberry, and also in the other 2 buildings that are open. So this is just an example. In the morning, we'll concentrate on our academic program from 9 to 11:30. The enrichment program will be in the afternoon. And a typical school day would include some morning announcements. And that's where we really fit in our social and emotional learning with morning meetings, and just to get a check on the pulse of the students. The English language arts block will follow, the math block, lunch, and then enrichment in the afternoon. On the next slide, we have some of our enrichment partnerships who will be collaborating with us again this year. And as you can see, we have Our Farm. We're having a band camp at the Carmen Air Race building. Our extension program, Leisure Services, is partnering with us, as is the Bloomfield Public Library. In fact, the library is going through construction this summer. So we have offered to have them come in and do some pop-up libraries in our schools and during the summer. The Bloomfield Social and Youth Services, Boys and Girls Club, Creative Vista Charm, and our Agri-Science and Technology Center students will also be working and coming in to our programs. So we're excited about our partnerships. On the next slide talks a little bit about field trips. As you know, we haven't been on field trips in a while. The last 2 years, we did some virtual field trips. The Bloomfield Public Library is again going to provide us with virtual trips. And the summer theme this year is Oceans of Possibilities. So a lot of our programs. We'll talk about the possibilities of our youth, which again fits in right with our portrait of a graduate, looking at the whole child possibilities. And then we will also be conducting some trips, hopefully on site, otherwise virtual, to some of the museums in the area around science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, our STEM initiative. On the next slide is what our expectations of the schools are, obviously to register the students, to monitor the curriculum, to make sure it's tied with the standards and the curriculum during the school year. All of our teachers are in the programs are from the schools, so they have knowledge of the students, of the families, and of the curriculum. We will be monitoring the implementation of our IEPs for our students with disabilities who will be attending the programs. And we'll once again be really on top of attendance engagement. And at the end, we like to survey our families to see if we missed anything or how we can make it better for our families. We will also have this year the extension services. So that will help some of our working families if they need before and after care. And finally, central office, this is what our work is around, again, making sure the curriculum is aligned. We do a lot of work now on the curriculum at our committee meetings. We have posted for the certified staff. We've also posted for non-certified staff. All of the hiring is in motion to be completed. We will again monitor attendance from a district level, oversee professional development, and we wanted to mention that school nurses will be available at the sites. So finally, on the last slide, in summary, it's a 3-week program, as Dr. Thompson said, it's running July 11th to the 29th. Standards-based curriculum that's age appropriate. And we want to use several learning platforms. Classroom teachers, special educators, social workers, and instructional assistants will be available. We will analyze progress made by all students. We ask the principals to inform their school communities. And they have some students that they have targeted that they feel the program will be most beneficial for. They're making personal phone calls. And obviously, as always, we will come back in front of the Board of Education to present in the fall on the program. Right now, I believe we have around 50 students who've registered already, but we're expecting a lot more. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Conlon. Any questions?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Friedman?
No questions, but a comment. I think it's my same comment that I do every year. I am so proud of the summer program. As you know, I'm a child of the 70s, so when schools finish in the 70s, I'm on vacation. However, after all these years, and I think I've mentioned it, if I was a child, I would be begging my parents to go to this program, not only for the math and the reading that is provided, but for those recreational programs after. You know, you're doing a wonderful job. You have some great partners, and I would be the first one in line to participate if I was that age. So once again, I commend you, and I also commend our Board of Education and our Dr. Thompson to putting this whole program together for our young people. So thank you.
Mr. Friedman, you're more than welcome to come and visit us this summer. You're right there.
Then I so will be there. Thank you.
Other board comments? Other board comments?
Yes.
Glassica.
Yes, Ms. Collins, could you, first of all, let me say that I like the fact that the program is as structured as you have explained it. But could you tell me, what do we mean when we say small classes? What numbers are we looking at?
We usually try to keep them around 14, 15.
Okay. And
We want to give that the small groups. We want our teachers to really have that kind of
I
one-on-one.
get it. That works fine. I
Okay.
hear you. Christina's good. Culturally relevant curriculum. What do we mean when we say that?
We have a team that's writing curriculum around a culturally based books, information based on the legislation from the State Department. So we have been very aware of that during the school year, and we will carry that on into the summer. But there is a team that worked last summer on culturally relevant curriculum.
Okay. And then variety of learning platforms. What are those varieties?
Okay, so we have obviously, we're, in face-to-face now, but we also have the use of technology, and we have iReady, which is a platform that assesses but also provides very strategic programs to students in various areas. We have IXL, which is a reading program. We have a math program. We have many computer-based programs that the students will have an opportunity to use during the summer too.
Okay. And do we have a cap on the number of participants for the summer program?
We do. In fact, I had a meeting this afternoon. Do you mean last year's?
No, I'm saying, is the program available to every single family?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yep.
I'm sorry, who's answering? Is that you, Dr. Thompson?
Yes, it is. And I'm glad you asked that question because it's so often asked. There is no cap. The program is offered, and we encourage every student in Bloomfield to participate. And let me just add one other thing about the program. The program is something that since I've been here, since 2011, and I'm very proud to say that no one in the state of Connecticut has a program that comes close to our summer program, because what we try to do is replicate the schedule as much as possible that the students have during their regular school year, but also we include the enrichment component. So it's something that I'm very proud of to offer the students and families here in Bloomfield.
Thank you very much. Again, I like the structure. I think that's very good. Thank you.
Mr. Wright?
Yes, Ms. Cullinan, what is culturally relevant curriculum? What is that?
Mr. Ike, we have been following the tenets from the State Department of Education around the need for culturally relevant curriculum. We have our own team that's writing culturally relevant curriculum. And that's what we present. It's books about Black and Brown children, Native Americans, students with Hispanic heritage. So we make it culturally relevant to all of the students that we service in the Bloomfield Public Schools.
So this is an early start program, and that's fine. So is this curriculum going to help move the students forward? Or is it just building esteem, building confidence in their academics? What exactly will the culturally relevant?
So if we use a culturally relevant
to help a student move ahead academically?
Well, the curriculum and the books that we use are being used to teach the different reading strategies, close reading techniques, those kinds of things. We're just using books and curriculum that the teachers, that the students would feel comfortable with. I don't know.
What do you mean by that? They feel comfortable with it. I'm not following you. What do you mean by that?
I can add, Mr. Ike, that a culturally relevant curriculum is really helping our kids see themselves in the mirror, right? So all the research says that students can make personal connections when they're learning about their culturally and historically responsive content, right? And so it's infusing literacy across disciplines, but representative of their heritage and culture, right? So it makes it more relevant, engaging, meaningful, and it extends their learning opportunities.
So to build esteem academically, to maybe
It's,
say,
it's using historically and culturally responsive text, right? To enhance their overall achievement.
But Mr. Ike, let me add one other component here that you touched on. You know, aside from the culturally relevant aspect of it, we're still adhering to the standards. Okay, the standards in reading, the standards in math, and also the standards in science. So the students are going to still be taught according to those standards.
thank you.
Ms. Eastman.
Thank you. So I was just wondering, are you going to be collecting any data regarding the students and their learning, and or actually two parts? So have you collected in the past any data regarding the students' learning, and what kind of assessments are you going to be using?
So we're
Let me
looking.
weigh in on that. Go ahead. I was going to weigh in on that too, because
go ahead.
typically what we do, because it's 3 weeks, we have to identify, okay, what standards we can reasonably teach over a 3-week period in those content areas. So yes, there will be a pre-test to a certain extent, and also a post-test to determine how well the students and how much have they learned during the summer. And we'll be more than happy to report that back in the fall to the board.
Okay, and do we know that it's, because I know the programs are really good, and I know we're trying to include a lot of things in there now, and trying to help these kids to catch up from 2020 and the pandemic, everything that's been going on. So do we know for certain, I guess, from the last time that we collected data, do we know that the scores are improving? Do we have
Yes.
that data?
We have, yes, we do. And the iReady assessment is administered to the students in grades 1 through 8, 3 times a year. So we do have that data. So that data is going to be very important to inform us in terms of what are those strands, okay, that we are going to teach curriculum-wise in reading, math, and science during the summer. You only have 3 weeks. So how many of those strands can we reasonably teach during that period of time? So that can provide us with a baseline in terms of where the students are as they enter summer school. And then at the end of the 3-week period, we will administer a post-test to determine how much the students have actually gained and learned during that 3-week period. So yes, we will have data.
Okay, do we have it from last summer, and are you able to share that data with us?
Last summer, I'm not sure if we have exactly the way I have just described it, because we're just coming out of the pandemic doing the in-person. So we did not structure it last summer the way we're structuring it this summer, because we're fully in person this summer.
Okay, thank you.
But what I can do, I'm going to check to see what data we do have, because we do collect data all the time, that we have at the end of last summer's program. I'm going to check to see what we do have, and I'd be more than happy to share that with you.
Great, thank you.
Other comments, questions? Any other comments or questions? Okay, thank you, Ms. Cullinan.
Thank you.
Approval of the proposed 2022, 2023 academic calendar. Mr. Guzman.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Before you is the proposed academic calendar for 2022, 2023. This calendar reflects the 180 school days that are required by Connecticut law. The first day of school, as you can see, is Wednesday, August 31st, and the last day is scheduled for Thursday, June 15th, which is the 180th day. The school calendar also includes 3 teacher in-service days, which are required by the teacher contract. Those are August 29th and August 30th before school starts. November 5th, November 8th, February 1st, and March 29th. Comprise the 6 in-service days for teachers. The 2 week-long vacation periods, December 22nd through January 1st, and April 7th through April 14th, coincide with the vacation periods from other surrounding districts, West Hartford, Hartford, as well as the correct schools. So we've coordinated those vacation periods with the surrounding towns. Parent-teacher conferences are now scheduled for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, December 7th, 8th, and 9th. And then again, on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, March 1st, March 2nd, and March 3rd of next year. That's a little change from what we've had this year. This year, those 6 parent-teacher conferences were on consecutive Wednesdays in December and in March. And we have changed them to what they used to be, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So this is the calendar adopted or being proposed for 22-23, and the administration recommends approval. Thank you.
Mr. Fryman,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that the Bloomfield Board of Education approve the 2022-2023 academic calendar as presented.
Second,
been properly moved and second to approve the school calendar for next year. Any comments? Yes,
Yes,
Ms. Eaton.
Oh, go ahead, Ms. Eaton.
Thank you. Just wondering, so the key at the bottom has the orange for conferences and professional development days. Are there professional development days on conference days?
On the parent-teacher conference days
Yeah.
that you're mentioning?
Yes.
No, those are dedicated for teachers to be engaged and greeting and talking with parents about their children's academic progress.
Okay, well, just because it says the one with the strike through says early dismissal and it says conferences / professional development. So I was just wondering if.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, we can clarify that, but good question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Other
Yes.
comments?
Yes,
Ms.
my-
Vogel, okay.
My question relates to the in-service and professional development days. I gather there are 6 of those days. Is that what I heard?
Yes, there are 6 full days for professional development for teachers. Yes.
So my question relates to what will be done in those professional classes. Do we know how many of those days have been earmarked to train the teachers on our newly adopted UConn teaching strategy?
At this particular point, I don't know what the schedules are for those 6 professional development days. I know that the first one is a convocation day. Those days are planned by the Office of Instructional Development. So I don't know specifically what they are. I don't know if either Stacy McCann or Anne Marie can address that. But at this early stage,
If,
yeah.
Mr. Guzman, if that
Yeah.
cannot be addressed now, can we be sent that information? Or can it be addressed at the beginning of the next semester or something?
Sure.
Sure. Let me just respond because there's a professional development committee and they will start work sometime late in June, even sometime over the summer to put together the professional development program for the 2022-2023 school year. And we'd be more than happy to share that with you.
Okay, good enough. Thank you.
Sure.
Other comments? Other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the proposed calendar, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Review and recommend approval, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, of the 2022-23 Healthy Food Certification Statement. Mr. Guzman.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. The Healthy Food Certification Statute 10-21-215 requires that each local Board of Education or governing authority of public schools participating in a national school lunch program, which we do, each year must certify that there are all food items sold to students will or will not meet Connecticut nutrition standards. The board must complete a vote of the required motion language by July 1 of 2022 for participation and to be eligible for the healthy food certification during the 22-23 school year. We are asking the Board of Education to conduct 2 votes tonight. One, whether the district will participate in the healthy food options, and 2, whether the district will allow allow food and beverage exemptions. The language that is in the 2 motions has to be exact because that's the way the state requires it to be submitted. So we recommend approval of both the motions before you. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to do one at a time. Please be patient because this is a lengthy motion. Mr. Fryman?
All right, the first motion. I move for the Board of Education to approve the Healthy Food Option Certification pursuant to CGS Section 10-21-5F. The Board of Education or governing authority certifies that all food items offered for sale to students in the schools under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutrition standards published by the Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutrition standards during the period of July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. This certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeterias, culinary programs, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or non-school organizations and groups.
Is there a second?
Second.
We're properly moved and seconded. Any questions? Any questions? Hearing none, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Oppose? Abstention? Motion carries. Mr. Fryman, you got energy enough?
You better believe it, kid. I move for the Board of Education to approve the food exemption statement. The Bloomfield Board of Education will allow the sale to students of food items that do not meet the Connecticut nutrition standards and beverages not listed in Section 10-221Q of the Connecticut General Statutes, provided that the following conditions are met. 1, the sale is in connection with school or non-school organizations and groups, an evening occurring after the end of the regular school day or on the weekend. 2, the sale is at the location of the event. And 3, the food and beverage items are not sold from a vending machine or school store. And quote, event is an occurrence that involves more than just a regularly scheduled practice, meeting, or extracurricular activity. For example, soccer games, school plays, and interscholastic debates are events, but soccer practices, play rehearsals, and debate team meetings are not. The regular school day is the period from midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held and must be the same place as the food and beverage sales. Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? It is so ordered. Initial reading of policies. Two policies, Mr. Guzman.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. First policy before you is the policy 4212.42, which is drug and alcohol testing for school bus drivers. You can see that the change in this policy is in the bottom of the page. And this is something that was is a regulation that was passed by the at the federal government level, the United States Department of Transportation through the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration Agency, amended the rules for commercial driver's licenses, drug testing. And what the regulation requires that language pertaining to the assurance that the contractor will establish a drug and alcohol testing program that meets the requirements of the federal regulations, state statutes, and district policies. This particular policy was amended on the basis of language we received from the model language that we received from the Connecticut Association of Boards of Education Policy Department. So recommend approval of this. Actually, this is the first initial reading.
That's right.
This was presented to the policy committee on March 29th for a first review. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any comments or questions regarding those two policies? They still have to go back to the committees. Okay, CABE updates.
No, Mr. Harris.
Please notice.
Mr. Harris.
Yes?
Mr. Harris, can I go on
Yes.
to the other policy?
Oh, I thought you did.
No,
Oh, you
there are two.
started with the other one. Okay.
I'm sorry. So policy 6159 is individualized education program, special ed program. This is one that was based on a court decision, AR versus Connecticut State Board of Education, where all students with disabilities who have not yet returned 22 years of age and who have not received a regular high school diploma remain eligible for special education services under the Individuals with Disabilities Act, IDEA, until they reach the age of 22. And the paragraph that you see, the second, the paragraph with the uppercase letters is the language that's we've included as an amendment to this policy to ensure that children can receive special education services up to the age of 22. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, we will have the opportunity to discuss this in committee twice. It will appear, no, it's already been discussed once, right?
It's been to the policy committee and on March 29th and now before the board for an initial reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we will go back to policy committee for additional discussion and then come before us again for a final vote. Okay.
Thank you.
Just in view of CABE updates, Krista did include in the her attachments a copy of the CABE liaison newsletter. And please note that May 9th is will be a CABE legislative wrap-up of laws that were passed, et cetera, for the education for the next, that are going to affect us the next school year and beyond. That it'll be a webinar, so watch your email and anybody can go online and just to listen in and be a part. Additionally, save the dates for the CABE, the Delegate Assembly, which is November 17th, and the CABE CAPS Convention down at the Marriott November 18th and 19th, and anyone from the board, elected board, that would like to attend will be able to. It talks also about the advocacy that CABE staff has done, as well as the upcoming CABE Journal that will be available digitally. I just returned actually last night as a CABE representative at the NSBA, National School Board Association conference. It was the first time we were able to get together in 2 years. And I was in San Diego for 5 days, and it was just like being in Bloomfield. The weather wasn't much better. Perhaps maybe a few degrees warmer, but in bright sunshine, California sun wasn't there. But it was a good conference. I was a part of a workshop that I did with the CABE director and deputy director. We did a workshop on boards of education and civility, which is a real buzzword going around. And I walked in, it was at 8:30 Sunday morning. And you figure 8:30 Sunday morning, you're not gonna get many people out. And I walked in about 8:05 and there was nobody in the room. And I said, and I'm looking at the size of the room and I said, really? And, but by 8:35, we had 125 people in the room. So, and the NSBA conference is well over 3,000 person board members from all across the country. So if I have to say so myself, we put on a good workshop. Our opening statement is part of our handout materials, and I had people coming up asking me, where did you get that? And can I take a picture of it? And well, it's a part of your attachment, but here you can take a picture of it. And so our opening statement is going to be around the country. So it was a good conference. Those of you that know Bob Rader, who is the director of CABE, is retiring. So he's leaving June 30th. It's left up to the CABE executive body, of which I'm a part of. We're going to go about the business of finding a new director. So stay tuned for that. And that's kind of, I think that's it for CABE updates. Any CABE questions? Okay, Mr. Ike?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Board comments.
So my comments tonight are from, I'm conflicted on one hand and not conflicted on the other. And they're from the comments at the budget workshop when the superintendent was being questioned by the town council members about the quality of the Bloomfield schools, what were the achievement levels of the Bloomfield schools, and why are they rushing to go to magnets? So I think I told this story last spring. I have a lot next to my house, and I noticed this car would pull up, and then the school bus would come, and the little boy across the street would get out, go to his house. Then the school bus would move up, the student would get out and get in the car. Another little boy, he lives up the street, he would go to his house, and they would take off. And then I noticed when I sometimes would leave in the morning, same car, pull up, the bus comes up, the little boy from across the street gets out, gets on the bus pulls up, get out of the car, and they get it, and then the other little boy from up the street, they get on and go to school. Sometimes the person in the car would talk to the bus driver. So I'm not sure. And then I guess as the season went on, I noticed they pulled back a little further from my lot. but it's very dense. Darby Street was probably one of the densest part of the town of Bloomfield. So I noticed this over and over, this car, and I don't know what the nexus is. Maybe there is a nexus, but I know the other students go into a house. This one goes into a car, and I noticed it again this year. Same thing again. I think I mentioned it. And then also I noticed sometimes occasionally up on Blue Hills Avenue at Darby and Blue Hills, I see a car parked in a driveway where the building is abandoned. And I'm not sure whether it's a magnet student or what, but I just noticed that. So I said to myself, as I listened to the comments peppered to Dr. Thompson, Bloomfield schools must be doing something, because I'm not sure what the nexus is for that particular, to Darby Street in that car. But if someone doesn't have a nexus, they're doing everything to get their child what they perceive to be, what they got to believe that Bloomfield is offering a quality education, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm not sure, maybe there is a nexus. I just haven't seen it in my own self. So I think everyone deserves to have a quality education. And a parent, that guardian or parent, believes, whether they're connected to Bloomfield or not, that Bloomfield is offering a quality product. Now, my second comments, which I'm not conflicted on, is about early preschool, which we discussed in the committee meetings. I strongly, I'm gonna do this till I'm here during board comments, encourage everybody to get your child as quickly as possible into some kind of preschool program, so that we won't have so many children when they come to kindergarten behind, so that they're ahead. We want to strongly encourage all guardians, parent, whomever, get your child into some kind of preschool program. If you don't know, go to the Board of Education. We're going to find a program for you. If we don't have one, but get your child into a preschool program. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ike. I'm going to make some comments when I get to my time. Ms. Bogolasika, you're muted.
I'd simply like to thank the administration for their presentation tonight. I don't have any other comments.
Thank you. Mr. Moore?
I just want to congratulate our men and women's teams for their athletic accomplishment. And again, congratulations to Mr. Maletti, I'm sorry, in his new position.
Thank you. Ms. Eastman?
Thank you. Thank you again to our student presenter tonight. It's always great to hear about what's going on in our schools. Congratulations again to Mr. Maletti, to our boys basketball team and our girls track team, the coaches and the athletes. Phenomenal job. We're very proud of you. That's all I really have to say today. I mean, I'm not getting the weather that I want here in Bloomfield, so the Eastman family will be in Mexico enjoying some fun in the sun. So I hope you all enjoy April vacation and whatever you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wilkerson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to congratulate, as many of the other colleagues has mentioned, just to congratulate Mr. Maletti on your appointment to the HR, as well as Mr. Moles and Ms. Burrows for leading our teams to success. We are on the map, and we want to continue to stay there on the map and show everybody what Bloomfield is about. So congratulations and thank you so much. And then also to our student representative, thank you so much for coming and making your presentation. It's always good to see student representation come forth and such great talent being birthed and groomed right here in our own town. So thank you so much. And thank you also to the administration for your presentation.
Mr. Friedman?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a few items. First of all, I want to give a proper shout out to our chairman, Mr. Harris, and our superintendent of schools, Dr. Thompson, regarding doing an excellent job presenting our budget to the town council about 2 weeks ago. I think we had all the answers and all presented, and regarding the need for an adequate budget for our schools and our young people. So thank you for that. Once again, congratulations to our boys basketball team and girls indoor track team. We're we're getting that party on, and it's going to happen soon. So we look forward to that. I understand that our 8th grade visited the high school today in preparation for their going on toward their education there. And I also understand that the CAM parents are invited to a meeting tomorrow at the high school regarding, meeting teachers and staff and students. So I highly encourage all our parents to attend that meeting tomorrow night. And lastly, wishing everyone a very relaxing April vacation. And please, I remind Dr. Thompson, take a few days off. We don't want to see you in the office. God bless everybody. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Friedman. As many of you are aware, especially the parents of students in the system, that the masks are now optional. This is probably the first meeting in a long time that we didn't hear from Wendy. But the masks are optional. So you can take them off if you want. My hope is that you are still very careful in everything that you do. If you're paying attention at all, the state's positivity rate is continuing to go up. It's up just under 5 today. And so we're not out of the woods yet. And you get those daily notices from Dr. Thompson. So we are still getting students and staff that are going down with are testing positive. So just word to the wise, please be careful in everything you do. He and I have talked at length about coming back to the board, person-to-person meetings. And frankly, hopefully you agree with us, but we're gonna take our time. Right now, we're hopeful to come back person-to-person in September. And we've got 2 meetings left in this year, May and June. We're gonna stay Zoom. I think we're getting a lot of business done, and it's always a time for us to talk and to meet, practicing social distance. But we're going to take our time. We're not going to rush into this. So I want to wish everybody a wonderful vacation. Express to everybody a happy holiday, whatever holiday you may be celebrating in the next couple of weeks. And I'll see everybody back here for the next meeting on May the 10th. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Ms. Bogleasser.
So moved.
Second.
There goes you calling on me, Dr. Harris. Mr. Ike's got it. I don't even know who seconded.
Well,
Mr. Friedman seconded.
Opportunity. Are you moving, Ms. Bogleasser?
No, Mr. Ike moved and somebody else seconded.
Oh, Mr. Ike seconded.
Well, somebody moved it. I heard at least 3 voices.
Oh, yours is the voice I'm hearing. Okay. So Mr. Ike has seconded. We are adjourned. Good night, all.
Good night.
Yeah.